You know that moment when you're speaking English and everything you're saying is correct, but something still feels wrong.
Yeah, like you can feel the other person's face change, just a little, and you don't know why.
Exactly. You go home and you replay the conversation in your head, and you can't figure out what you did. Your grammar was fine, your vocabulary was fine,
Mm-hmm.
but the conversation felt awkward.
That feeling. That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the English Conversation Podcast. This is a place where we talk about real English, the kind that happens between people, not in textbooks.
And today, we want to talk about something that almost nobody talks about, but everyone feels. That strange discomfort when you're speaking English and you're doing everything right, but it's not working.
So let me start with a story. A few years ago, I had a colleague from Spain. Really smart guy, worked in tech, spoke beautiful English. His grammar was probably better than mine, honestly.
Better than yours? That's not hard.
Hey, fair. But anyway, one day we're in the break room and another colleague asks him, "Hey, Carlos, want to grab lunch with us?" And Carlos says, "No." Just like that. No.
Oh, no.
Right? And the thing is, he didn't want to go to lunch. So his answer was correct. It was honest, it was grammatically perfect, but everyone in the room felt it, this coldness.
Yeah, because in English, we almost never just say no like that, not to an invitation.
Exactly. And Carlos didn't know that. He went back to his desk thinking everything was fine. But the other person felt a little rejected, maybe even a little hurt.
And this is the thing that so many English learners don't realize. The problem isn't the words, the problem is how we use them in social situations. It's about the feeling behind the words.
Right, and this is what we want to talk about today, because if you've ever felt like your English sounds awkward or robotic or just off, even when it's correct, this is probably why.
It's not your grammar, it's not your vocabulary, it's not even your accent.
It's that you're speaking textbook English in a social situation, and those are two completely different things.
So let's go back to that moment with Carlos. What should he have said?
Well, in English, when someone invites you to something and you don't want to go, you don't just say no, you soften it. You might say something like, "Oh, I'd love to, but I actually brought my lunch today."
Or, "Thanks for asking, but I think I'm going to eat at my desk today. I've got a lot to finish."
Or even just, not today, but thanks, with a warm tone.
Right, and notice what we're doing here. We're not just answering the question, we're taking care of the other person's feelings.
This is what I mean by social English. In English-speaking cultures, especially in places like the US, UK, Canada, Australia, we wrap our words in softness.
Yeah.
And if you don't do this, even if your English is perfect, people feel something's wrong. They can't always explain what it is, but they feel it.
And here's the hard part. Nobody teaches you this. Not in school, not in English classes, not in apps. They teach you grammar, they teach you vocabulary, they teach you pronunciation.
But they don't teach you how to make people feel comfortable when you talk. And that's the real skill. That's what makes a conversation feel natural.
So let's talk about another example. Mike, imagine someone asks you, "Can you help me move this weekend?"
Oh, and I don't want to?
Right, you don't want to. So what do you say?
Well, I definitely don't say, "No, I don't want to help you."
Right, even though that's the truth.
Exactly. I'd probably say something like, "Oh man, I wish I could, but I'm actually visiting my parents this weekend. I'm really sorry."
Or, this weekend's really bad for me. Any chance you could do it the weekend after?
Right, and again, look at what we're doing. We're not just saying no, we're explaining. We're showing that we care. We're giving a reason. We're apologizing, even though we didn't do anything wrong.
This probably sounds crazy if you're not used to it. Why apologize? You didn't do anything wrong. You just can't help.
But in English, especially in American and British English, we apologize for things that aren't our fault all the time. It's not really an apology. It's more like a way of showing we care about the other person's situation.
It's emotional comfort.
Exactly. That's the phrase. Emotional comfort. When we speak English in social situations, we're constantly trying to make the other person feel comfortable. We're trying to make sure they don't feel rejected or stupid or annoying or pushy.
And if you don't do this, your English will sound cold, even if every word is correct.
And this is why so many English learners feel frustrated. They study for years, they know all the grammar rules, they have a great vocabulary, but when they speak, something still feels off.
Because they're speaking correct English, but they're not speaking social English.
Right. And here's another thing. In many languages, being direct is normal. It's even polite. It shows you respect the other person's time. You say what you mean clearly and quickly.
But in English, especially in social situations, being too direct can sound rude. It can sound aggressive, even if you don't mean it that way.
I have a friend from Germany who told me about this. In German, if someone asks you if you want coffee, you can just say nein, no. And that's completely normal.
Right, nobody thinks you're being rude.
But in English, if someone offers you coffee and you just say no, it sounds harsh. It sounds like you're annoyed.
Yeah, we'd say something like, oh, no thanks, I'm okay. Or, I'm good, but thank you.
Or, I just had one, but thanks for offering.
And these extra words, they don't add information. They add feeling.
That's such a good way to put it. They add feeling. They make the moment feel softer. They make the other person feel okay about asking.
And this is happening all the time in English conversations, not just with yes and no, but with everything.
Right. Let's say you're at work and someone sends you a document, but they sent the wrong one. How do you tell them?
Well, you don't say, this is wrong.
No way. That would sound so harsh.
You'd say something like, hey, thanks for sending this over. I think this might be the wrong version, though. Do you have the updated one?
Right. Or, I might be confused, but I think I need the other document, the one from last week.
And again, look at what we're doing. We're not saying you made a mistake. We're protecting their feelings. We're making it sound like maybe we're the ones who are confused.
Even though they sent the wrong thing.
Exactly. And this might sound dishonest to some people, like, why don't we just say what we mean?
But it's not dishonest. It's kind. It's making sure the other person doesn't feel stupid or embarrassed.
And this is a huge part of English-speaking culture. We try really hard not to make other people feel bad, even in small ways, even by accident.
So we add all these extra words and phrases that soften everything.
And if you don't know how to do this, your English will sound too strong, too sharp, even if you don't feel that way inside.
And people won't want to talk to you as much. Not because they don't like you, but because the conversation feels uncomfortable.
So let's pause for a second and just be really clear about something. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh no, I've been doing this wrong the whole time, please don't feel bad.
Yeah, this is not your fault. Nobody taught you this.
Right. Your English teachers taught you grammar. They taught you how to pass tests, but they probably didn't teach you how to actually talk to people in a way that feels natural.
Because most English teachers aren't native speakers, and even if they are, they're focused on grammar and vocabulary and sentence structure.
They're not focused on the emotional side of conversation, the soft language, the indirect language, the way we protect people's feelings with our words.
And this is really hard to teach in a classroom anyway, because you can't learn it from rules. You learn it from listening, from noticing, from feeling the difference.
Right. It's almost like music. You can read about music theory, but if you want to actually play music, you need to listen to music. A lot of music.
That's such a good comparison, and it's the same with conversation. You need to listen to real conversations, not scripted dialogues from textbooks. Real people talking to each other.
And you need to pay attention not just to the words, but to how people use them, the tone, the softness, the extra phrases that seem unnecessary but actually do so much work.
So let's talk about tone for a minute, because this is huge.
Yeah, you can say the exact same words, and depending on your tone, they mean completely different things.
Right, so let's take a simple phrase. That's interesting.
Okay, so if I say, that's interesting, with a rising tone and genuine curiosity in my voice, it means I really think it's interesting.
But if you say, that's interesting, flat, with no emotion, it sounds like you're politely saying, I don't care.
Or even worse, if you say, that's interesting, with a pause and a certain tone, it means that's weird or I don't like that.
Exactly. Same words, completely different meanings, and the meaning comes from the tone, not from the dictionary.
And this is why English learners sometimes say something and get a totally different reaction than they expected, because they're using the right words, but the tone is sending a different message.
Right. And here's the thing. Tone is really hard to learn from a book. You have to hear it. You have to feel it.
This is why listening is so important. Not listening to learn new words, but listening to learn how people use their voice.
How they go up at the end of a sentence when they're asking something, even if it's not technically a question.
How they stretch out certain words to show emotion. How they pause before saying something difficult.
All of these tiny things that native speakers do without thinking about it.
And if you don't do them, your English sounds flat. It sounds robotic, even if the words are perfect.
So here's another really important thing. In English, we often say the opposite of what we mean, and you're supposed to understand from context and tone.
Oh yeah, this is a big one.
So let's say you help your friend move, and it's really exhausting, hours of carrying heavy boxes. And at the end, your friend says, "That was fun," with a certain tone.
Right, they don't mean it was actually fun, they mean the opposite. It was terrible.
But you're supposed to laugh and agree and say, "Oh yeah, so much fun," with the same sarcastic tone.
And if you take it literally and say, yes, I enjoyed it very much, the moment gets weird.
Because you missed the tone, you missed the sarcasm.
And this happens all the time in English. People say things they don't literally mean, and you're supposed to understand from how they say it.
Another example. Let's say it's raining really hard outside, like pouring rain, and someone looks out the window and says, "Beautiful day."
They mean the opposite. They're being sarcastic. They're saying the weather is terrible.
And the correct response is to laugh or roll your eyes or say, "Oh yeah, gorgeous."
Not, but it's raining.
Right, because everyone knows it's raining. The joke is saying the opposite.
And this kind of ironic, sarcastic tone is everywhere in English conversation, especially in British English, but also in American English.
And if you're not used to it, you'll miss it, and the conversation will feel confusing.
So let's bring this all together. What we're trying to say is that speaking English naturally isn't about grammar rules or fancy vocabulary. It's about understanding how English speakers use language socially.
It's about softness, indirectness, emotional comfort, taking care of other people's feelings with your words.
It's about tone and implied meaning, understanding what people mean, not just what they say.
And the only way to really learn this is to listen, a lot, to real conversations.
Not to study, not to memorize, just to listen and notice and start to feel the patterns.
And this is what we want to do with this podcast. We want to help you hear real English, the social side of English, the human side.
Because that's what makes conversations work. That's what makes people want to talk to you. Not perfect grammar, not big vocabulary, but the feeling that you understand them and you care about how they feel.
And once you start to understand this, English becomes so much easier because you stop trying to be perfect and you start trying to be human.
You start to relax, and when you relax, conversations flow better. People respond to you better. Everything feels more natural.
So if you've been feeling frustrated because your English feels awkward even though you study really hard, we get it, we understand, and we want you to know that it's not your fault.
You just haven't been learning the right thing. You've been learning textbook English, and now it's time to learn social English.
And that's what we're here for. Every day, we're going to talk about real English. We're going to show you examples. We're going to help you hear the difference.
And slowly, without even realizing it, you're going to start to feel it. You're going to start to notice these patterns, and your English is going to start to sound more natural.
Not because you studied harder, but because you listened more.
So that's it for today. We covered a lot. The main thing we want you to remember is this. The reason your conversations feel awkward isn't because your English is bad. It's because you're using correct English in situations that need social English.
And social English is all about softness, tone, and making people feel comfortable. It's not about rules. It's about feeling.
And you learn it by listening, by noticing, by giving yourself permission to sound less perfect and more human.
So tomorrow, we'll be back with another conversation. We're going to talk about one of the most confusing things in English, how to disagree with someone without sounding rude.
Because that's another place where being too direct can really cause problems.
So come back tomorrow. Listen while you're having coffee, or walking, or cooking, or just relaxing.
The more you listen, the more natural English will feel. Not because you're studying, but because you're absorbing it, the same way you absorbed your first language.
Thanks for listening today. We're really glad you're here.
And remember, your English is better than you think. You just need to learn how to use it with people, not just with grammar books.
See you tomorrow.
Take care.